Okay.
There it is.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lead, Sell, Grow. Eric and Harry are your hosts, and today we have an amazing guest, Mike Fallat. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know Mike, he is the CEO of Dream Starters Publishing, where he helps people write books in less than 30 days. And if I'm not mistaken, within 5 years, you've done over 190 books for people. Is that correct?
190. We're about to break 200 by the end of the next month, it looks like.
Unbelievable. He is also the founder of Rockstar's Dream Lingerie, where it's a monthly lingerie delivery service. He started the Rockstar's Dream magazine, which the first issue is coming out next month of May of 2020. He's an author of 13 books. His first book was Dream Starter. Then he went on to write Started from Zero and a few others. You can find them all on Amazon. Today, you've seen him on social media. He's usually wearing a red leather jacket or a black leather jacket with spikes on it. And he's singing. He's surrounded by beautiful women who are wearing crazy socks. I actually had a chance to meet Mike at the 10X conference back in 2019, where I was outside waiting for one of the speakers. And Mike came up to me, shook my hand, spoke with me for a few minutes, and gifted me a hat that said Started from Zero. I cherish that hat. I love wearing that hat. Mike, thank you for that. There was definitely a certain energy about Mike when I first met him, and I've been observing him and following him on social media ever since, and he's just super fun to watch. So, Mike, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Doing well, man. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. And I think back to that 10X Growth Con where, a lot of people were watching the speakers, and I figured I can make a lot more money if I talk to the people in the stands. And that's why I was going around and networking, and you can see the power of, what happens when you just walk up to a stranger, get to know them, and see if there's any synergy. So that's what came to be after meeting you, man.
Oh, awesome. You know what? One thing I super admire about you is that attitude of I'm going to be me. And it seems like you're crystal clear on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what your business stands for. You have your values and your morals in check. And sometimes it's controversial and doesn't seem like you really care too much about it.
Well, it all started to click for me 3-4 years ago. When I started to just accept who I was, and you kind of reverse engineer what gets your attention. You say, well, if that gets my attention, it probably gets a lot of other people's attention. So let me put that out there. And I started to put the sex appeal combined with the books. Nobody's ever done that. I think I'm the first to ever combine sex appeal with book creation as an entrepreneur. Most people think books are really boring. The book itself was my, I guess you could say, the key to success. And I realized that your story is sort of the most attractive part about you. So if I can combine that with sex appeal, then you can get people's eyes, and then you can tell them a story, and then you can get them to fall in love with you and your brand.
Tell me so how do you provide, or how do you add sex appeal to books?
Well, it all started when I hired a couple models off of Instagram saying, hey, we're going to go to a coffee shop, then we're going to go to a movie theater that I rented out, and we're going to put on this, photo session on a few books that we're launching, and we're going to put on social media, and let's see if we get eyeballs on the books. Yeah, obviously people are going to look at the girls, but then they're going to see the books that they're holding. So I started to put that out into Instagram world and on Facebook, and I started to see immediately getting a lot more engagement, a lot more views. So I ramped it up a bit. I started to do, I guess you could say, a little bit more of risque photo shoots, videos, different posts. And I noticed that people were really loving it or really hating on it. And both of it served my brand. The women loved it because they were getting attention. And my customers were happy because they were finding out that I wasn't just this boring book company. And my team was happy because now I had a lot more money coming in that I could hire them, more people and pay them more. So it started to work on a few different platforms. And I noticed right away that as long as I didn't cross the line that I had in my heart of, okay, what is too much, then I could sleep well at night, and it worked really well for a couple of years. And that's whenever it became part of my brand. Now everybody looks at me as the exciting book guy. And now we've kind of spun off into magazines, lingerie company, and you just have a lot more opportunities.
Hold on, help me understand this. So you've never done a photo shoot, never dealt with models, never probably rented out a movie theater before this. Take me to the point you got the idea and walk me through from I got this idea to the first click of a button. Like, how did you even convince the girls to do it?
Well, it's actually a lot easier than you think. There are girls out there, there are models. This is all they want to do in their life. This is it, modeling. They're born for it. They have the genes for it. And I don't know how easy it is to find it in your town. I don't know where you're at, but I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's not as easy as you think in Pittsburgh as it would be like, say, Miami or California or somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I started to reach out to different Instagram models. I did the hashtag Pittsburgh model, hashtag, Pittsburgh, whatever it was then. And Pittsburgh model is probably the one I searched for. Found a couple girls and I said, hey, I'm doing a photo shoot. It's a paid gig if you're interested, but it's only going to be 2 hours worth of work. So I hired like 4 or 5 girls and only 2 showed up. It's all numbers. Everything is numbers in this world. So I got 2 to show up. I'm still very good friends with them to this day. They still do some work with me, but I hired them. They came to the coffee shop. We started to do photo shooting of them holding books dressed as librarians. I mean, it kind of makes sense. And it really just, it kind of was nerve-wracking for me because here I am as this guy who is doing okay as a book guy, but I'm not doing really well. Put on the suit, I'm just starting to kind of test my own boundaries internally. And that's another thing is like every time you do something that's outside of your comfort zone, something good's going to come from it. You're going to learn about yourself or you're going to learn about your brand or your audience. And when I did it and I took the pictures, I had a guy come out. He didn't really even charge me for photos. He's working with models. He's getting to do what he wants to do, and he's building up his resume. He took the photos, gave them to me. I put it out on Facebook, and immediately I noticed friends, family members, all that started to ask me, what am I up to? What am I working on? And it was at that moment I said, this is the direction. I know that this is what has to be done. If I'm going to create a business from nothing, if I'm going to stand out, I need to be different. I need to walk that line, and I need to do stuff that, might be frowned upon by some of my friends and family members, which it was, but they didn't pay my bills. And I only thought about what's best for business and still not breaking my code of ethics and morals.
Love it. So what started this fire in you to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, yeah. I would have to say it goes back to 16, 17 years old. I would say I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur since 16 or 17. And I think back to when I got my first job as a convenience store worker. I tell this story all the time. I went to work as a gas station worker, and there was a man there that who was an entrepreneur, dated the pretty girls, had the nice car, had rental property, restaurants, all the bunch of toys. And I really looked up to this guy. And it was only after he realized that I wasn't cashing my checks, because I was so obsessed with saving money. My whole life I was taught save money, save money, save money. Not invest, don't create, save it. Whatever you get, my dad was a HVAC guy at the airport. Union stuff where basically you get paid a certain amount, you put X amount away, and you just keep saving it for that rainy day. So it wasn't until I met this guy who said, hey man, are you the guy who is not cashing any checks for my company? I said, yeah, man, I want to save it. And if I have it in my hand, I'm going to spend it. So 16, 17, 18 years old, I wasn't really cashing checks. Finally, I cashed him. I got $5,000, and he started teaching me about mutual funds and investing. He took me under his wing, and I listened to him. I was his right-hand man, I guess you could say, at 18 years old. Told me to go to Duquesne University. I took on all this debt. Didn't think I could afford it, but he said, hey, apply, see if you get in. So I got in, and he said, you'll pay for the debt later. Don't worry about it. Just get a degree from Duquesne, and you can do all kinds of different things when you graduate. He kind of steered me the wrong way, where I said, I'm a marketing guy. I want to take marketing as my major. He said, listen, man, you can get a marketing degree from anywhere. But if you take finance, you're going to learn about the business system and money. and then you'll be able to go anywhere. So the marketing degree is not nearly as powerful as the finance degree. So I went and got into finance, nothing that I was driven to do. I just did it because, oh, this guy's a multimillionaire. I'm going to listen to him. I graduate. I said, okay, what next? He says, you're going to work for me. You're just going to do oddball jobs. And I did everything. I cut it, all of his properties, which is like 40, 50 properties every week. Cutting grass. I would do demolition. I would just do oddball stuff. You know, he's making $30,000 a year for 2 years. Here are my buddies all going on to work at BNY and Mellon and all these different companies, and they're all looking prestigious in their suits. And I'm this dirtball, just working my tail off. And
did you think it was like a Mr. Miyagi, you know, he's got wax on, wax off going?
I think it could have been. I think he was teaching me the grit side of it all. There's no doubt. I think that, you know, I was proving myself that, hey, I'm willing to do whatever's necessary. Was it the Mr. Miyagi? There was a point I thought that, but it kind of ran dry whenever all the empty promises were becoming empty, where, hey, you got this job lined up. Oh, it fell through. It's going to someone else, you know? And then all of a sudden you start to realize you're not even invited to the Christmas party. You're working really hard for this guy. And then it's time to go out on your own. So I got my real estate license. I bought my first 4-unit building, bought it. I was all excited. I'm making a little bit of cash flow. And he kind of like wrote me off. Hey, you're no use to me. See you later. You're not going to be my number one employee. Well, then I'll find someone else. See you later. Good luck with everything. So I thought he was my mentor, but I was only his mentor if I worked for him, which was it was a lesson itself.
So now how old are you at this point where you're kind of all alone and now jobless?
22, 23 years old. 22, okay. 23. So
with some debt.
Oh, with debt as my first property for sure. With credit and my school loans.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
How much debt would you say you were in?
Oh man, I don't know. It was a lot.
It had to look like a big number, regardless of what it was, when your only income is 30 quad.
Right. And here I am. I put 3% down on a $160,000 place, and I'm only making $400 or $500 residually per month.
Yeah, so, retirement money.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think you're going to just sit back and just rake it in for the rest of your life, but you had other dreams.
Oh, well, I'm making $400, $500. I'm fixing toilets. I'm fixing things. I remember being so like worried about money that I didn't even want to go out and buy a plunger. Like I'm thinking to myself, I don't even need a plunger. Like, you know, like I'll borrow
that sounds like
plunger.
A bad story.
It was bad. Trust me. There's a lot of bad stuff as a landlord. I don't know if you guys own property, but
yes, but we won't go there.
Fixing toilets, fixing sinks. I did that for many years. And, you know, before I get off track. So I get into rental property. This guy leaves me. I'm out on my own. And this is whenever I start to really, I'm taking big risks. I'm putting ideas together that are, oh, I'm the next Steve Jobs. I'm the next Apple. Let's put this crazy system out there. And all these things don't work because I'm thinking too big. Another lesson, all right? This is the biggest lesson I talk to people about is simplicity. All the businesses I was trying to create were not simple. It was data analytics and all this that I really didn't understand at that moment. And I couldn't even sell it because it was so, I guess you could say, high level and convoluted. So it was difficult for me to even sell and market because it was so complicated. 4 businesses were failures, just out of the gate failures. And so I had to get some money in to pay for these mistakes. I was in much higher debt. You know, all my credit cards are maxed out.
What was your mental attitude after 4 failures? That sounds like, you know, pretty drastic stuff.
Yeah, I would have to say the mental attitude was just depressed. Like, how could I fail? Who am I? Where it is almost like you're just completely lost. Where am I going to go? What's my next step? How could I be here? Why am I going to work for a corporation? I was against that. You know, you're just lost. This is when you're in the forest by yourself. You know, nope. My dad, my mom, they don't know what the heck I'm working on. Oh, you're working for this really big company, by the way. This is a really, really big company. And, I go in, I break records. I'm selling more than top tier dogs that've been doing it their whole lives. And it's just because it was a lot easier to me to sell something that everybody trusted already. I go, this is easy. The leads are already there. They already trust the company. I got this. it's this face-to-face stuff, because I was selling something nobody's ever heard of before. And I really didn't even know everything about it because I was creating it from the ground up. So you go through all that training, you become like a Navy SEAL as a salesman. And you're just, you could fly. So then I'm doing really well. My parents are really proud of me, but then I'm 30 years old and I'm miserable. I'm just, I hate my life. I'm on easy street. I'm coasting.
I saw it on one of your podcasts. I interrupted real quick, but it is a line that just killed me because I'm in sales. And you said in this other podcast, I'd rather be dead than get another sales job in a corporation. Oh, God. So, I mean, that's just an amazing statement to me.
I'd rather be dead. It was that moment. I swear to God, I'd rather be dead. When you wake up and you're like, I just remember I don't even drink alcohol anymore. And I remember going home and like craving alcohol, and I had to drink 2 or 3 beers before I could even go to sleep. I hated my life so much. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm 30 years old. I remember sitting at the bar, and it was just time. There's a moment I think every man goes through, and whether it's man or woman, it doesn't matter. I think everybody realizes, all right, I need to make a move right now. So that's when I started putting things in place, and I said, you know what? I got to get back into the entrepreneur game. I need that. There was so much excitement and just possibility. It seems like as soon as I took that corporate job, the path was almost like I could see for miles. I know what my life's going to turn out to be. And I hated that feeling.
Yeah.
What was it about it? Like, what was the vision that you saw that scared you?
It was, I guess the thing that scared me is that there were no surprises. There was not that, the possibility of creating something that lasts, or the excitement of putting your own ideas and ingenuity into something that becomes yours. It has to be, if I'm just going to be doing something the rest of my day or rest of my life every day, the exact same thing, there's something that just is boring to me about that. And I love the fact of, hey, now I get to wake up and I can work on many, many different ideas, different business plans, and work with different people. And every day is just a little bit different. Yeah, I have the same schedule, but I'm working with different people. I have different ideas, and I can put them into action right away. So that moment where I could say, I'm going to make $75,000 to $100,000 without even sweating every day, every year for the rest of my life, it just put me to sleep. And I'd rather, be the gunslinger that says, I don't know if I'm going to live or die tomorrow, but I want to have my blood pumping while I'm dying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
So that's whenever I said, I'm going to start cutting back on hours. I'm going to start getting into my side business again. I'm going to create this company called Doggy Surprise, which is a direct-to-home dog product service. And I started to do pretty well with it. I'd rent different home show booths, and I started to do pretty well. But that's when the corporate world started to say, hey, you're going to start to do something that's other than us. We're going to be a little bit jealous of you. And we are going to try to limit your success now unless you play by our rules. And I noticed that, here I am doing really well, but as soon as I wanted a little bit of my old life back, it was almost like, hey, you can't do that. You got to play with us only. So my leads got cut, my opportunities got cut, and it was starting to see, I was starting to see the writing on the wall. And it was scary that they could control my life that much. I hated that feeling. So I started talking to different companies, and a lot of people leave, by the way. It's one of those companies that a lot of people come in, they don't do really well, they go to another company. But I was doing well. I wanted to go out on top. Right? So I found another company. They said, hey, you want to do this dog product service? No problem. Do that. Just come here, do a little bit for us, close some deals. We'll pay you part salary, but mostly in bonuses and commission. And the company that I was leaving was all commission. So if I didn't get any leads or whatever, I'm not making any money. So I said, okay, you sound like a better opportunity. I'm going. But as soon as I go there now, the other company says, we're going to teach this guy a lesson, or we're going to set an example. Nobody leaves us to a competitor like Mike did. So Nice. They came after that company and they said, if you don't fire Mike Fallat, we're going to take you to court. So this is the moment where I said to myself, if I'm going to sit up on stage and talk to my kids someday and maybe even work with clients, and I'm going to say to them, fight till the death. And if I don't do it right now, then I'm going to be a liar. So I need to do this now just to prove a point to myself and to anyone else that, even if you're going down, you go down swinging. So I lawyered up, and I talked to my lawyer, and I said, hey, can I win this case? And they said, hey, this is a right to work state. This is Pennsylvania. You're going to win this, no problem, in state court. Great. $10,000. Take them to court. Now, this is a pretty sly company. They're pretty smart. They know I'm going to win this in federal court or state court. So right before the judgment and all this is taken care of, they move it from state court to federal court. And that's when I get the bad news. Hey, Mike, they take it to federal court 95% of the time, no matter what happens. The federal court is always going to go with the corporation. So you're going to lose this case, most likely. Do you still want to proceed? And it's whenever I, did a little soul search and I said, let's go all the way. I know I'm going to lose this. It doesn't matter. Let's go down and let's see how it all turns out. Here I am going into federal court with $1 billion company by myself. I had the company that I was going to work for come in, testify, all this stuff, and I lose. And this is you see me talk about started from zero. I'm at rock bottom now. I'm in debt. I spent $10,000. Turns out they spent probably $100,000 to keep me from working. So I felt a little bit good about that, but
yeah, so minor victory.
Minor, yeah. So I mean, they're $1 billion company. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I took some time off of their hands and said, "Hey, you're going to be in court for a while." So here I am, rock bottom. What am I going to do next? And this is whenever I think when you're at rock bottom, you start to do, your best soul searching. You get your best ideas. Okay, I have no safety net. So what am I going to do for money? And I remember thinking to myself, okay, let me start to write a book about creating the dog product service. I was could have made $35,000, $40,000 that year doing it. I mean, it sounds great. So let me start to put out there what made that succeed and not my other businesses succeed. Oh, simplicity, got to have vision, understanding demand, profit margins, all this basic stuff that I learned, but it took me some time. So I put it out there. And in the meantime, by the way, it was a weird timing. My friend's family was going through this transition with their pool building company. And they said, hey, Mike, just for this summer, for this spring and this summer, we need someone just to help build pools. Can you come and work on pools with us? And building pools, swimming pools. I said, yeah, that sounds great. I can work outside and get to see you guys again. So I was building pools part-time and writing the book. And that gave me enough money. So as soon as I wrote the book, my life changed. It was called Dream Starter, the startup business guide for the diehard entrepreneur. And that's when I realized, oh my God, on Facebook, on Instagram, the book got me so much more attention. And this is 2016, somewhere in there.
Jeez.
It changed my life. And
Yeah.
if I would have wrote this book back in 2008, whenever I first got into rental property, then maybe my life would be a lot easier at this point. So I thought, man, every entrepreneur should write a book. This changed my life. And people started coming to me and saying, Mike, if you put this book out there, you turn it into an Amazon bestseller. Can you do the exact same thing for me? I said, hell yeah. I'll even write the book for you. You just pay me $2,500.
Nice.
So I wrote the book for people for $2,500. I did the cover design. I had the girlfriend edit the books at the time, saved me some money, started doing books for $2,500.
Of course, I knew you then.
What's that?
I wish I knew you then.
Seems like a pretty good
difference
price.
now.
Yeah.
It's going up to $12,000 here in about a month.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. So, it all started there, but I was making money. Was I making a lot? No, because I'm working my tail off writing books now for people. But it was the springboard of working for the corporate world, hating it. Now I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I know what it's like to have those golden handcuffs and not want to leave because you're going to go through such discomfort. But now I had this fuel. Maybe it was because of the court case that I had an extra boost that says, I want other people to get out of that job. How do you do so? You write a book, you differentiate yourself, you build a business, create a service, and now you're going to stand out in the world. And then you take it one step further, you get a little bit controversial with like sex appeal and a different branding strategy. Now all of a sudden in a sea of noise, you are a little bit different, and the world only remembers those who are different.
I love it. Harry, from now on, all of our shows, you have to do topless.
I'm going to do major sex appeal research. I don't think I'm the person, no.
It would be definitely different. And by the way, for all of our listeners, when I was getting quotes, I didn't know about Mike when I was writing my book. When I was getting quotes, like he said, he's going up to $12,000 for services like the ones he's offered, I had quotes for $25,000 to get my book out with the design, with editing and ghostwriting. No, that didn't even include ghostwriting. That was if I wrote the book.
Amazing.
So if
Looks
you're
like
thinking,
you have some room there, Mike.
Oh yeah.
yeah, you're undercharging there, but no, I'm kidding.
My biggest competitor is $34,000. Yeah, it's the same, 34 to 52,000. So
Jeez.
I know I have a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, good for you.
And that's all right. But if you're thinking about writing a book, but you don't know where to get started, you don't know how to get it to a bestseller, Mike's got a proven system in place that is it correct? Like from idea to bestseller would be in under 60 days, 45 days?
Yeah, the average is about 45 to 60 days. The book is written in 30 days, and then you get 2 edit run-throughs. And this is where the variable comes into play. We don't know how long it takes for you to read your own book and to make edits. Some people are within 2 days. Some people 6-7 months. And what's funny is we're in this quarantine time where I'm getting a lot of people sending back edits because now they have time. So there's
Right.
a pro and a con to everything. A lot of people are making the most of it, but it's about 45 to 60 days. The system is based off of a 2-hour interview one day and a 2-hour interview another day. And, I created this system. It wasn't like I saw someone do the exact same thing. I wanted to do something where every entrepreneur can have a book. That was the key. Maybe it goes back to that court case. Like I said, I want people to have a book because it's what was set me free from working for someone ever again. But it also was what allowed me to grow. And I think the book was the key to all that. If I can help people do that, then I can add a lot of value to the world.
Wow, that's awesome. So I've also heard you in the past say, and I quote, "A great marketer will always beat a great product or service."
Hands down.
Tell me
Marketing always
about
wins. Marketing always wins. If you think about all the great companies out there, I mean, Geico, I don't know, honestly, the ins and outs of insurance companies, but I would have to say that they're the best marketers. All right. So no
My
matter
kids
what,
know them from seeing their plane fly by a mile away with the banner anytime we're at the beach. They're like, there's the gecko.
right. And it's not the ins and outs of the product or the service. It's, can you stand out? Can you make people laugh? Can you be remembered? Because you want to be that first thing that they think about if they need that solution. So Geico stays on the top of people's minds so much that, oh, if I need insurance, oh, I could save a little bit of money. Oh, it's not going to take too much time. That's all I know about the company. So you think about companies like that, or even, you look back at the computer companies. Do you really believe that that Microsoft maybe was the very best of what they did, or were they just the best marketers in certain aspects? I've seen a lot of companies out there that can they look at themselves as marketing companies first, and then they offer the product or service. So if you can outmarket, outposition, Grant Cardone, for example, I don't know if he's the best real estate guy. I didn't invest with him, but I would have to say he's the greatest marketer of real estate investors out there. So when people are going to invest, they might invest with him first over people that I've even worked with directly as real estate guys that are just brilliant, great numbers people. But when you look at their lives, they have 3 or 4 people watching their live, but they're geniuses at what they do. I still think they might be better than Grant, but Grant can outmarket and outsell these people. So it goes to show you that if you're great at marketing, can I guarantee the best book written for people? Absolutely not. Can anybody on the planet guarantee the best book written? And there's no way you can. But what I can do is differentiate myself as a way of 30 days or less. Also, your story is the most attractive part about you. So my branding is all about that. I can stand out. And if you're a guy out there, maybe 21 to 40 years old, are you going to look at the boring book company creator? Or are you going to look at the person who's putting some flair and some show business to it and saying, hey, you know what? This book is really exciting to write. Once it's done, you can market it in an exciting way, sort of like what Mike does. So I can outmarket people, but I can't say that I have the best product or service because it's really subjective, I think. The marketing, though, not subjective. You can always tell who the greatest marketer is.
That's awesome. So
When did this? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Harry.
I was just going to ask. You had several businesses in the past. Was this an evolution of thought that you became more of a marketer? Because you mentioned simplicity was a reason for your success with the dog treats and so forth.
Yep.
But
Yep.
what about the marketing? How did that evolve over time?
I would say that my love for marketing has always been there. I just got really good at it over time. So there's that simplicity in marketing too. So my marketing of always wanted to be bigger than I really am, that type of thing, is always been there. But the way you do it has definitely got refined over time. I started to realize that as long as, I mean, your message, maybe your colors or your end service might change, but if there are certain phrases or certain words that are always good or always positive that you want to be associated with, hero, dream, starter, all these different phrases, different words.
Nice.
All you start to do is it's almost like word relationships. You start putting stuff out there that you know mean a lot to you and potentially mean a lot to your audience.
Right.
So you start putting that out there, and then all of a sudden you connect the dots back to your company. Hey, you want to start the dream? Write the book. Book equals dream equals hero. You start to do this map of, okay, well, if I want to go here, I could just put I could scatter it with all kinds of different things that are somewhat related to that end goal. And I believe over time, you find out what those words are, what those symbols are, what those videos are, and then you just keep pouring it on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Eric and I are still trying to figure out those words.
Yeah,
But,
you're my hero, Harry. Yeah, I'm
that's
gonna
great
really
stuff,
market.
man. I could listen for hours on that, but that's amazing. It's a simple observation, but brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that a lot of people don't know your company name, but they all know what hero means or what their dream is, or certain things that mean a lot to them. So it's almost like find out what words mean a lot to those people, and then kind of just put the breadcrumbs back to your company.
Oh wow,
I'm
I
so
love
taking notes on that. That's awesome.
Find what words mean to those people and put the breadcrumbs back to your company. Love it. So Mike, a few, our listeners, hopefully we have one or two by now. They're probably not entrepreneurs.
Come on, there's 4 or 5 listeners at least, not 1 or 2.
At least. Okay.
My wife will listen. Your wife will listen. So that's 4 of us.
And I'm making my kids listen. Okay.
Right, see, huge audience.
Mike, can you please listen?
I'll count me in. I'll be number 5.
We just increased our audience by 20%.
I love it. So a lot of the audience, they're in sales. I'm talking about me and Harry.
Yeah.
And they're not entrepreneurs. So right now, you've been an entrepreneur for how long?
I would say full-time, probably 2015, 2016.
Okay, so about 5 years. If you had to get a corporate job right now, and let's say somebody took you, made you an amazing offer, put you in a business-to-business sales or a business-to-consumer sales role, knowing what you know now, with all that experience, what would you do to market yourself, your services, the company that you're working for, if you had full reins?
Great question. I really believe, and so if you look at 3 companies that I'm a part of, which is Dream Starters Publishing, and then there's Rockstar's Dream Lingerie, which I'm just an investor in. I don't do anything with that except for, fund it, make sure everything runs. And then there's the Rockstar's Dream magazine. The second 2 can run without me now, but the first one is all me. And in order for me to actually grow that, I needed to realize that nobody cares about Dream Starters Publishing. Nobody cares about the writers. Nobody cares about the people who are designing the covers. They care about the person who they're giving their money to. I think that I needed to, and this is tough for me to see in the beginning, I see it now, that anybody who is a salesman of any company, I always think that you have to realize that they're trusting you before the company. Yeah, the company might be there. It might be great. You might have a great product, but the trust has to be built with the person. And if the trust is there, you have such an advantage over a bad business, or even a good business competitor and a good business or a good product competitor. So I think that if you can get really good and comfortable with human relations and start to connect with people on that ground level, hey, I know where you're coming from. I know what, and it's almost like if I was a face-to-face, go into their house and sell. I also did it on the phone. and I did it through the computer. The faster you can build any bit of trust and commonality, then you have an advantage. And then you exploit that advantage. So you really dive hard on, okay, we're both Jeep people. Oh, we both love motorcycles. I mean, all this is done on purpose. Harley Davidson, I'm throwing up my flag. I want people who are Harley Davidson riders to know that's who I am. So when you listen to me or do business with me, you're doing business with one of your own. So anybody in sales, I think that a lot of people rely on the company, say, oh, we have the best company. We have the best service.
So true.
I think people make that mistake. I think you should be leading with you first rather than the company, so that way when they give money to you, they know that you're a good person, you have good ethics, but you are like them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you look at other business leaders out there and you hear a business leader say, I hate salespeople.
Oh man.
Right?
Oh,
salespeople
man.
are jerks. What do you think of that business leader? Maybe is an entrepreneur.
He's going to go out of business soon. That's what I think.
I don't know how you survive with that mentality. People say that
have you heard that before?
I've heard that they hate salespeople. I wouldn't say that I've never met a really successful guy or woman who hates salespeople, but there are probably one of those out there. I just think that, sales is the lifeblood of the company. And if you're saying that, who's going to come work for you? Who's going to actually sell for you? No company, I don't care who it is. No company is just, having money just pour in. Salesforce, everybody knows Salesforce. All right. So I'll give you a little background with this. I love Salesforce. I tried it out. It's great. It's almost too much of what I need. I needed something really basic, but they hounded me every day, even when I told them I'm not ready. And they started to be pushy as you could get. And that's whenever, no matter what, he didn't call to connect and say, what kind of business are you in? Or what can I do to help out? Or tell me a little bit about this. It was, let me tell you about our promotions. Here it is. They're in sell mode and not connect mode. And I think that the people out there who are saying that are always saying, well, salesmen are just trying to sell and they're trying to be pushy and try to get the money. Yeah, those people really do kill a business. But if you're a successful person, you have to realize that whatever you could do, incentivize and reward your greatest force of the company, which is your sales team. So it makes no sense if you bash your army like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love what you just said. So this whole idea of selling and the one-to-one relationship, there's tons of books that are out there on this, but you're 100% right that this is the first thing that people are buying is, the person that's across the table or, on the other side of the monitor or whatever. So how do you make that human connection? So I see the Harley Davidson hat. I see you have our brand, Lead Sell Grow there. I see the championship wrestling belt, the red jacket. I mean, is there anything left to my imagination? I can look at pictures. What else how do you figure out how to make that instant bond? Because you obviously have the energy. So how do you do that?
Great question. I think that when you see a quick video like this, you probably get a good feeling of who I am. I love, the rock star itself, that word, going back to it, rock star itself is everybody kind of wants that rock star life. So like you say that out there, what's that mean to them? Well, it can mean a lot of different things. But going back to your question here, how do you make that bond? It's not just one video. It's not one picture. It's over and over and over. You do not want to just keep putting out one video, one phone call, or one podcast. You want to be judged on many, not few, because the more you put out there, number one, you're going to get really comfortable. I can get on any camera or whatever, because I do it every day. So that comfort level's there. And when you're comfortable, people see that. And that's when people are like, whoa, this person's comfortable. Why are they so comfortable? I wish I could do that. You almost become that person that they want to become. So I think that the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Number two, you get more clear with, what works, what doesn't work, and who you really are. So then you start to say the right things, and you start to see what they respond to, and then what they don't respond to. And then the third thing is that maybe this isn't in the videos or this is on the phone call, but you start asking the right questions, and you realize that the questions are the key to unlimited gateways that you can go into. oh, I can talk about this with this person. Oh, the military. Okay. You're this type of supporter. You're on this political spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I can bridge the right relationship, I guess you could say. It's not like you're a chameleon, but hey, this is important to you. Well, guess what? I'm a type A personality. I'm a Leo. I'm an entrepreneur. I can connect with you on any side. Just tell me what's important to you, and I can start to build around that. So I think that, you have to figure out what's important to you first as the salesman, as the entrepreneur, because there are certain things that you start talking about and I'll just glaze over. I don't have nothing to do. So I kind of keep people on my home turf where it's like, I know what I'm really good at, what I'm really passionate about. And I try to keep people there. So I say that when you want to connect with someone, find out what's important for you for them, but find out more importantly, what is so crucial to you that you could talk about for days with no rehearsal, and what you would want other people to know about you if you have 5 minutes with them. So I think with the pictures, with the videos, all that, you get really consistent with things on certain messages, certain phrases. And I think a lot of people start to wake up to, oh, this is the person that says this over and over and over. Oh, this is the person that, oh, they're just like me. Oh my God, they love this type of music. Oh my God, they like these movies. Oh, they find this stuff funny. I find it funny also. It is not just a one-stop shop. Okay, I get it. I know who you are. This is a relationship that you can build up online, and it may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I've been friends with people on Facebook probably for 5 years. Some of them have not spent $1 with me, but they know me so well now. They've seen me kind of evolve. They know what I stand for. There's no hiding it anymore. It took 5 years maybe, but now they say, hey, anybody out there looking for a book? This is the guy. Or, hey, if you want to be in a magazine, this is the guy. He's proven himself. And that doesn't happen overnight. It just takes time. And I think if you just keep doing it, you get more consistent with it. And, you start to put out the symbols, what mean a lot to you, and your tribe will find you eventually.
And your tribe, what I like about it, I think who you're attracting are that late 30s to mid 40s dude who was interested in WWF growing up and WCW. Is that the Bret the Hitman Hart jacket? Because I think did he post or something? You had something. I think it was Bret the Hitman Hart made a comment about your jacket, I think.
Yeah, Bret the Hitman Hart gave us a shout out for almost breaking 200 books. The message we sent him was, hey, we're about to break 200 books. Can you congratulate us on that? And he said, congratulations on 200 books. So
why
Bret the
him?
Hitman Hart, because he's sort of, and I guess you could say you nailed it. Like, our target audience is men. All right. There's no hiding it anymore. This is exactly who I know I can help, most likely in the real estate world. And I needed something that symbolizes the person who's the hero of their own story. There's no better hero of their own story than a professional wrestler. All right. So, they go out there, they wing it. This is, it's staged to a point, or not staged to a point, but it's basically, their personality in front of a live audience. There's something to that people will look up to and say, that's entertaining. And we got Bret the Hitman Hart to do that, but this is not Bret's jacket. This is like a 80s, 90s, like rocker jacket, just like this one, which is all 80s.
Yep.
And so,
give me a story on those.
And for those listening, that would be bright red. And what's the other one? I can't really see it from here.
Black with spikes on it.
Black with spikes. This is it right here. So, people say that this is going back to what I just said before. You connect what means a lot to someone else. I think every kid grew up saying, I want to be a rock star or a movie star. I just think that. All right. And so when you look at the red jacket, to me, it's very Alice Cooper-esque. A lot of people say Michael Jackson. Both are pop stars, rock stars, whatever it is. They wear this stuff to stand out. And you as a kid probably didn't realize that, oh, maybe the jacket helped them stand out. You just said that guy stands out and he's wearing that jacket. So this is a symbol also to me, and maybe to other people, that be loud, be proud of your brand, be who you are, and eventually people start to notice you. But it's also, what about that confidence, to dress a little bit differently than everyone else, or a little bit louder, or maybe a little bit crazier than anyone else. People sometimes want to do that, but they're timid.
Yeah,
the jacket is sort of a symbol for that. And the jacket and the shoes that we did for women, it's really tying it back to, and it's how it all started, was stand out, be different, but, take note of, what's attractive to you, and your story goes back to your story is very attractive. Not many people know that. So yeah, you can't really maybe put it out there, in a different way than a book, but the book can be attractive if you do it the right way. So the jackets are a symbol of attractiveness, and it kind of, there's the red one, there's the black one. They both mean the same thing to me. Stand out, be different, and be a little bit hardcore. Don't be afraid of looking like that rock star that maybe you dreamed of being when you were a kid, because we're all still kids, I think, especially the entrepreneurs who keep creating, keep building. They just really never grew up. They just keep wanting to fulfill that fantasy or that dream life. And I think that this helps me give you that example of that's who I am, but also maybe you look at it and say, I wish I could do that. And that's
I wish I had the courage.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
You're definitely setting the bar. I mean, so you're a guy that I just see totally comfortable in your skin, completely at ease and at peace with himself, just a go-getter, guy that makes it happen, huge personality. I hope this one doesn't throw you off too much, but do you have any regrets just looking back that you say, man, that really wasn't me. I shouldn't have done that? Or, I mean, you look at life at all like that?
It's tough. I know that people say, oh, I don't regret anything. It all happened for a reason. I would have to say that I do regret maybe not starting sooner. I think that's probably the best answer. I wish
it's a great one. Shoot,
it is.
man, that's another great one. I love it what you just said, because I think you always have regrets. I mean, come on. I mean, shoot, I failed a simple class in high school that whatever, right? I mean, I didn't need to do that. But we always have some dumb regret in life that we should do something we should learn from it. I mean, I think that's the case, right?
100%. I think everybody can look back and say, well, I should have done it this way. And I think that is a regret. To me, maybe it did teach you a lesson. So I make the most of it now. So yeah, maybe that I didn't start as soon as I should have, but now I make the most of everything. So it does kind of teach you that lesson that you adapt to, and you say, okay, I'm never going to be that person ever again. But there is that thing about time. I mean, the energy eventually fades no matter what. Time is going to be running out. And I wish I would have probably left that company sooner and started. You just never know what's going to happen. So you kind of ride it out. And where would I be if I would have wrote a book at 23 when I bought my first property? All right. When I became a part-time entrepreneur, where would I be if I would have done this way instead of, I think I would be just leagues ahead of where I'm at. So yeah, you could always make it a little bit better, be a little bit more clear with things. And a lot of people fail three times. A lot of people fail 3 times and give up.
Yeah.
So
you got at least 4 and 1 lawsuit. So I'm counting 5. So
multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of checkers on our belt.
It's inspiring though.
He
Those
got
are
a
good
law
losses.
degree.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah, it's funny that what you learn from even going to court, like all of a sudden you start to write emails. I don't write them like I did, but you start to write emails very clearly, like you're a legal counselor, and you start to pick up on all this stuff, which could make you a better writer for the books that we put out there. So it's funny how what you learn in the worst situations can help you get to the next stage of your career. That's all.
Yeah,
that's great, Mike. So what about on the opposite side of that? With all the stuff that you've accomplished, what are you most proud of?
Man, great question. Most proud of, I would have to say, almost breaking 200 books, helping 200 entrepreneurs become best-selling authors. It's really tough to beat that because it's not a selfish goal. It's almost like, look what I've helped in other people's lives. And a lot of them didn't do anything with it. A lot of them got the books, they got the bestseller, and they still were unclear about that next step. You can't be completely saying, hey, the book was the key to their success also. But it did give a lot of these people confidence, and it did give them a lot of attention, and it did get them to the next career milestone. So I would have to say that I'm most proud of the publishing company. I got to work with so many people, so many amazing individuals. I sit down with them. They tell me their story. They pay me, and they teach me what they've learned. And many of them are multimillionaires. So they're so successful, and I figured out a way for them to pay me and teach me at the exact same time. Also, I can help them market their book in the right way. So I'd have to say I'm most proud of the 200 books that we put out there. Nothing can beat that. We are taking that and rolling it into something else now, where it's the magazine, which has opened up many more doors, and the journey just keeps getting better. The story always gets better as long as you never give up, I say.
That magazine
Yes.
looks really awesome, by the way.
Yeah. Well, this whole, one of the things Eric and I spoke about getting this whole podcast thing launched is really about the human experience, because there's one thing to sell, another thing to lead, but, it's all about, to me, is really how we're impacting others.
Love it.
And that, what you just said, was another gem.
Yeah, you probably see it day in and day out with what you guys do. Like, some days you have a really hard day and things don't go right at all. And then all of a sudden you get an email from someone or a message on Facebook. Hey man, that book helped me get on this podcast I've been wanting to get on for years. And you're like, oh yes, it's working. Like, you might not see it in your bank account that day, but all of a sudden you're like, what we're doing is helping people. I mean, You tell me at the end of all this, even if you're a billionaire or you're broke, it don't matter. You help someone in their pathway. Like, as an entrepreneur, you solve problems for people, right? What's better than that, right? Every day you solve problems. Yeah,
it's the greater principle.
Not much is better than that. So, Mike, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Oh, that's a question I ask every one of our clients too. I think that getting back to 2015, 2016, when I started to get really clear with books and maybe storytelling, one of the things I did was I wrote down my obituary. What did my obituary say whenever I was long gone? And it did say that I helped a lot of entrepreneurs start businesses. And I did say that, friends and family obviously cared deeply about you. But I would have to say that the number one thing is my legacy is that I really, if you look at me, if you learn anything about me, is like, if I believe in it, I'll fight till the end for it. I think that if you can do it for yourself, other people take notice and they can apply whatever you have inside of you in their own life. Like the grit, the stick-to-itiveness, that if he wanted something, he went after it and he went all the way. I think that the legacy that I want to create is that he didn't have a plan B. He just went after what he wanted and he figured out a way to get there no matter what. So the stick-to-itiveness, the grit, the work ethic, that will live on, hopefully, if other people see what I'm able to do.
Man, that is awesome. So how do our listeners get in touch with you, Mike?
Yeah, so my company you can reach out to is Dream Starters Publishing. You can always go to that website and set up a meeting with me if you ever want to talk about your book or, how to market your book. It's a Calendly link. You can always set up and go right to me. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can always go to my Instagram, which is probably the best way to get a quick snapshot of who I am and what I stand for. And it's @the Dream Starter. So those are the two options that I think is best for you guys. And you could see, or go on Facebook, which I don't know if this is what's going to be available on, but Mike Fallat, Fallat, easy to find me.
We're going to try to put this everywhere, Mike. And last question. So many people want to write a book. I mean, I meet so many people that are like, oh, I've always wanted to write a book. How did you do it? What do you tell those people?
Think about the end goal first. Reverse engineer where you're going. Don't write a book just to write a book. The book itself is not going to be a money generator, but it will lead to a lot of money if you do it properly. And if you know that second step or the vision 5 years from now, work your way back and say, okay, I need to write a book about that because that is going to help me get to the next stage of my life. So once you have that in mind, now you reverse engineer, you write down different lessons that you want to teach your audience about who you are, what you're an expert at. That's going to help you get there and help them get there also. And then you marry that with personal stories. Here's what I found out through book writing, especially with 200 clients. Not many people care about the lesson itself as much as the story behind the lesson. So what you went through is going to mean a lot more to these people than the lesson itself, because a lot of people are saying the same stuff, but how they're saying it and what they went through is what matters to most people. So when you're putting your story out there, don't kind of hide your life. Put it out there front and center and then tie that with a lesson. And all of a sudden you're teaching someone about something and you're teaching them about you. And once they have that trust in you, they're going to actually take notice of that lesson. And now all of a sudden, once the book is done, it's pretty easy to write a book if you're clear on where you're going with life. and what lessons you want to leave behind. If you have those things in order, put it out there. Now you have the most important piece, which is how you're going to market the book for the rest of your life. And then all of a sudden you're on your way.
Love it, man. And what's your favorite book?
Book that changed my life is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's probably my number one. It changed my life. It changed the guy that worked at the gas station. He owned the gas station. Gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad. I still have the exact copy.
Oh my goodness! Other people's money, OPM.
OPM. I mean, the cash flow quadrant. All this stuff was just so new to me. They didn't teach it in school.
Yeah.
And I hated reading. Okay, here I'm a book company. I hated reading, hated writing, I hated it. I read that book and I was hooked on reading. I started reading over and over in all these different books, and I did not fall in love with writing until my first business. I started to think about, man, it'd be great if I could document this whole journey. So every day, 5 a.m., I would wake up and I would blog about the previous day. And I started getting really good at writing. And all of a sudden, you take all this knowledge from books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and obviously you got to love Think and Grow Rich. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad led to one thing, started the business, and then all of a sudden you find out your true strengths are writing. And you just keep growing from there.
There's so many similarities in that, Mike. I don't think I've ever shared this publicly, but I also hated reading. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad was actually the very first book I read when I was 26 years old.
Amazing.
I don't know who gave it to me, but I just got out of the Marine Corps, and somebody gifted me that book. And what was cool, in the very first chapter, I learned that Robert Kiyosaki was a Huey pilot in Vietnam. He was a Marine.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on. And by the way, as soon as he left the Marine Corps, he went to work for Xerox. And I left the Marine Corps. I left the Huey and Cobra Squadron, or Light Attack Helicopter Squadron, just like Robert. And I ended up going to work selling copiers right away. So I was like, holy crap. If this guy could do it, I could do it. And you gave me chills when you said Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by the way.
Well, I ask my clients that all the time. Like, give me a book that means a lot to you. 50% of them all say Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Or Think and Grow Rich.
Or Think and Grow Rich, those two, right. But
I thought you would say, sorry to interrupt you, but I thought you would actually say 7 Habits.
No, not Covey. No. I mean, that was a big one to me. The audio tapes while I was driving to work. But why I really love to bring up Rich Dad Poor Dad is not only it meant so much to me and it changed the course of my life, but you find out that it was ghostwritten, and you also find out it was self-published. 2 things that people always ask me. Well, if you're going to be writing it for people, why would you do it? I'm like, have you ever heard of Rich Dad Poor Dad? It was actually ghostwritten by Sharon Lecter, who took him to court and finally got co-author instead of ghostwritten by.
Oh,
wow.
I didn't know that.
It was self-published too. So self-published, people think you need a major publisher.
Yeah.
No, you self-publish it, get a lot of attention. Guess what he makes his money in? Courses. I talk about this. He's able to build this brand over Rich Dad Poor Dad. He doesn't make his money in the beginning. Maybe he was struggling with the book, but the book was the lead generator for this brand, and now everybody knows Rich Dad Poor Dad.
So what advice do you have for a guy like me that has a book and doesn't do much with it?
2 things. Number 1, you should never just have one book. Every 6 months to a year, I think you need to keep promoting something new to stay relevant. So I tell people all the time, like, promote what you're working on, promote what you just did, promote what you did a long time ago, or promote what you're doing and then promote what you just did. So it's almost like keep talking about what you're working on. Oh yeah, by the way, did you see this? I have this, by the way. And then you keep talking about where you went or what you did and what you accomplished. All of this is in the world of promotion. So I think you need to always have something coming out that's exciting and something new to stay fresh in people's minds. So number 1, write another book. And number 2, get really creative with that book of giving it away for free. So you need to have a website that's going to give it away for free, even if it's just a PDF. Mm-hmm. The reason why is if you are struggling for one day of what to post, you always can get creative and say, hey, everybody, just for today, I'm doing this promotion. If you want to give away or get a copy of my book for free. And now you can start to use it as a funnel builder, and maybe you could do it consistently. But now you can always go back to a little clip from your book that you really love, and then put it out there, and then have a link to the book itself. So it gives you all this ammunition to keep firing out to the audience. Just realize that even if people don't buy it or people read it, doesn't matter. You're staying relevant, that people will eventually see that you're an author and a best-selling author at that.
Love it. Mike, thank you so much. Harry, do you have any closing remarks for Mike?
No, it was awesome, dude. Totally. I've got a page of notes here. You're changing my life. I just love that.
Thank you, Harry.
I just love, like you said, in your business, you get paid and you listen and learn. So the only thing we have to learn is to get paid doing this, but I'm listening and learning. And it's really amazing. So thank you for sharing the time and your insight that you did with us. It's just amazing.
Really great, man. Nice meeting you. And I'm so thrilled that we talked at 10X GrowthCon back in Miami, Eric. So
me too, man.
Means a lot,
I'm
man.
very grateful that you stopped by and shook my hand, Mike. Thank you. All right. We'll see you guys at the...
You're the first, baby.
Yeah, on the next episode.